We acknowledge and respect the first humans of the unceded land we call San Francisco, the Ramaytush Ohlone. We condemn the genocide of these and other tribes across the Western Hemisphere. We honor their legacy and history, and we support rematriation and sovereignty efforts.
This one, I'm now with COVID. COVID's a thing. I like the fire is one thing, but since we've talked, we've gone through COVID too, and COVID is really important to
the picture
of the whole thing.
That was Mike Lynch, owner of Babylon Burning. I'm Jeff Hunt, and this is Storied San Francisco, a podcast all about the people and places that make this city unique and awesome. In this episode, we hear from Mike and his wife Judy in 2023 at the new Babylon Burning location on Howard Street. Mike and Judy will walk us through roughly just before the pandemic, when we hosted love letters to the city at their 63 Bluxome Street location, to late last year, when a fire did its best to destroy nearly half a century of San Francisco screen printing history. Here's Mike and Judy.
We were prepping, right? I wanted to mention, like, we were
Friday
prepping.
the
We bought a van.
Yeah, well,
We started more Instagram. We took over the gallery more, Judy and
This
I.
was right when we did our show.
Yep. And everything.
That was January. We opened in January 2020 and closed on Valentine's Day.
That was the year.
So we were
It was
like
right at COVID.
So then we're like,
I remember the van.
we were like
Big deal.
we just got the van. We're kind of like pumped up, and we're saying to ourselves, 2020 is going to be fucking rad. We are like,
I remember
we're
that
in
feeling.
the position to start going.
I remember that.
So then
Yeah.
I wanted to mention COVID because it goes back to like the prior interview. It's like we're only really like supported by local businesses, right? And so what happened is, with COVID, we closed when everyone was closing and not knowing what to do, we closed our doors. And I had a meeting with the guys. I'm like, you guys want to keep working? I go, I don't really know what else to do. People want us to do their work.
Like you had orders?
We had
Yes.
orders.
We had orders.
We had orders previously and
During.
during.
businesses. Cheese Plus.
Yeah.
Balboa Theater. All
They
these
were
things.
key
It actually
The
all
essential
the
businesses that were
essential,
open.
Bare bone.
Oh,
We
I'm
were
glad you
bare
mentioned
bone.
essential.
Yeah.
The essential businesses started
Yeah.
calling us and saying, "Can you guys do work for us?
Yeah.
When no one's working, we want to pay our employees."
Bare bone meaning it was
the
me,
Balboa wanted to pay
Mike,
their employees, and no, it was
that-
everyone. All the workers
Oh,
worked.
right. They
So
did. And closed
we
doors.
were doing work for people behind closed doors, doing work for the small San Francisco businesses, helping them do work for them so they could pay their employees, and in turn, the work they're giving us is keeping us going. It was like a
Fair
beautiful
exchange.
local
I wasn't
thing.
familiar or maybe aware. Like, I know that Cheese Plus is a client, but I was super aware of the stuff that Adam was doing with Balboa.
Adam was.
Because they were doing popcorn and everything, and then eventually the Parklets, movies in the Parklet, and like...
And the
Balboa,
mask.
and I'm definitely going to mention Adam and Jamie from the Balboa,
Yeah,
because
they
they
were
were
key holders.
during COVID, it was so important, right? Like he was so important. He had done like some employee did a few shirts for them, like a dozen shirts. Can I do some shirts, Adam? And they do, and then they maybe have them in the lobby and sell 2 of them. He did thousands of shirts with us. Thousands.
Yeah.
And people were there. They wanted to go. They couldn't go into the movie theater, but they went to buy popcorn, beer, and a T-shirt.
Yes.
And every week they were coming back. Every week she's like, I can't believe
is
it.
that he let his employee, he believed in people and invested into people's dreams, and he allowed this kid, an employee, to like do this huge run and sell it for him.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That
So
right
cool.
there, we need more of that in
Yeah.
our city to keep us
But
going. You know?
we're talking
like
about
that kindness. and-
Babylon. That's Adam. That's so
Yeah,
great. But I
Adam.
want to mention how, like, we just want to stick it with Babylon and like how he did stuff with us, and how we in turn, like, it was just this like
Great exchange,
perfect circle thing of like nobody really knew what was going on with COVID, They didn't want to close their doors. How do we do it? Can we do some merch?
Yeah.
I picked up so many schools. I picked up so many restaurants.
So you were getting new clients then?
It's just this weird thing because the last time that we talked, I had told you that during the recession and during the .com burst, we actually did a little bit better.
Because walking advertisements.
I cannot say that COVID was better. We actually did shit, right?
Right.
It was so low, but we didn't have to let anyone go.
Awesome.
And we making rent and making payroll and helping all these local essential businesses continue.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of worked, and then we just kept going.
It was a scary time.
Yeah.
We were thinking we were social distancing while we were working with masks.
Oh yeah,
that was surreal.
I am curious about I mean, maybe you have photos, but I imagine all y'all and your employees in the shop, and I would think you had fun masks. There's a dude at Calmar, which is my local grocery store, and he wears like a Darth Vader like a Darth Vader thing. And
we did so many.
San Francisco.
We did so many masks, so many different ones.
Yeah.
That was another thing. We were and it was all behind closed doors, but I had my story correct. If somebody was the police were gonna come kicking down our door, it's like we're working for essential businesses. We really were, right?
Yes.
Schools.
We're making the economy.
We were making masks for the
function.
city.
Yeah.
I was making masks for a whole bunch of
Plus,
city. No, but a whole
there
bunch of
was
city workers
schools.
and schools and government.
I remember
agencies.
in the summer I got a Black Lives Matter mask from y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
one.
just making our own side masks, right?
Just
black.
Remember the time there was
mask.
no toilet paper and no mask?
Yeah, we were making
That's
T-shirts
what
of
we
that.
were making T-shirts.
With
I
toilet
remember.
paper.
Did I show you those once?
I don't.
It was just a roll of toilet paper. It said "Never forget."
Yeah. Oh my God. That was actually how I found out, or maybe realized, either it's hysteria or it's real, because it was probably in February or January, and Erin, my wife, was out of town. She was at Sundance, and we live across the street from Target. I went over there, and I had heard of this thing, COVID, but January wasn't anything. And I turned to the aisle of toilet paper and paper towels, and they're all gone. And I wanted to be like, it's not that kind of disease, y'all.
Yeah. Oh no, we were saying the same thing.
But people were getting freaked out.
Yeah, and
But
we were
New
saying the
York,
same thing
remember New
too.
York?
We were saying the same thing.
Yeah.
We were no different from everyone else. We're like, it's the flu. Come on,
Right.
Yeah.
let's go. I mean,
we'll be
you
fine.
know,
It was not that
people are
bad.
like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be martial
But-
law and stuff. We're like,
Yeah.
come on. But then the seriousness and the deaths, when the deaths started,
Then
when
New
the deaths
York?
started happening, everyone was like, okay.
was real.
And then just how long it all, and all this uncertainty.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually a good point to talk about. Okay, so timeline for this episode, I'm thinking, and this is, of course, is my involvement was Valentine's Day, boom. We had a great show. The run of that whole Love Letters to the City was
sweet.
awesome. And the
Well,
closing
that was
night
2020 February.
it was February 2020, Valentine's Day.
So
Yep.
the 14th.
Oh my
so by
gosh.
the 22nd, shit hit the fan.
Correct.
So by January,
we closed that show, and
January,
it was
February.
closed.
So March, we're full into it.
Right. It was the middle of March is when the citywide shutdown happened. And you've already talked about what all kind of things. When do you think, as a business, it turned a corner into okay, when did you feel like you could exhale? Okay, we got this. We can weather this storm.
After COVID?
Whoa.
During.
Yeah, I mean, when was it later in the year in 2020?
Oh
or?
no, I think because
Or was it yesterday?
no, it was
It was when they started lifting the
When we could come
mask.
back out.
When was that? When they lift the
There
mask?
was the first one was, I think, in the summer. It was real short.
Yeah.
Businesses were able to open not at full capacity.
That's when we already was coasting through.
Didn't
But
it was like a wait.
we
So
didn't
if we
see-
starting in March, we struggled for so long, right? Because when did the
We
PPP
struggled,
started
yeah.
coming out? When did they start doing that? In the summertime?
Yeah.
So we for 2 or 3 months were
Maybe May.
struggling, right?
Maybe May.
Struggling for 2 or 3 months, really hard, not knowing what everyone was doing, and we were taking some
I
time
think
off.
it was a full year.
And then when we,
Okay.
yeah,
Remember?
at least, because then we were just focusing on helping the
Employees.
the business that we had coming in. which was not as much, of course. But we were just focusing on that,
The
focusing
PPP kicked in.
on trying to get that PPP because we really needed
But
that.
it did kick
Dude,
in.
that PPP
Helped.
I was at Beeps Burgers.
Oh,
check,
cool.
and people keep saying, check your phone. Keep putting your phone at the bank. Keep refreshing your thing.
Your account, yeah.
And it was
balance.
really to like the day, because we were gonna have to borrow some money to pay rent and stuff. You know, we were making money, making payroll, but it was really tough. And then I remember it came in, and then we could start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel because we had money in the bank. Okay, now let's focus. Like, who needs help? Talk to Ray. Remember the whole 6 Foot social club?
Yes.
So shit like that started happening, right? Like helping.
So what's
more
the timeline?
I still wear my
Remember?
shirt.
Yeah,
with that.
well, we did a 6 Foot
great.
social club.
Event? Did y'all do some kind of?
We didn't do an event, but we just did those. We started in the summer, I think. That
sounds
summer
right.
of 2020.
I think it was the summer.
And that was
when it-
great. And then we were kind of slowly picking up. We were doing,
Because we had a little bit of a backbone then after having the money, the PPP money,
Yeah.
that really made us believe in our progress, like, believe in ourselves and the process.
well,
of
that
our business.
and we could breathe.
Yeah.
Right? Literally, that we could, like, okay, let's slow the frig down. Because it was scary, and people, like, couldn't believe that we were working. They're like,
Yeah.
you're working? Like, what do you, because then you kind of feel like you don't want to be like, people saying, dude, is that your employees okay with that? You're like making your employees work?
Well,
we had meetings about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys,
we were
you wanna
legit.
work?
We were like asking our employees, "Are you comfortable with
and
this?"
they didn't
were
have
totally.
to. That's
we
the thing.
only
They
have 8
didn't have
people.
to work.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't.
So we were using the money to pay the bills and stuff, but I was also paying them full
Everything.
work hours.
Yeah.
But we weren't working full work hours.
Right.
We didn't
Just
have
part.
that much. So
Right.
that was what was great. So keep those guys employed. They want to continue working too, right? They don't know what else to do, and so
And
it
none
all,
of them
so
got
then it all
COVID.
kind of worked out. So then when
In
that was
hindsight.
like after the summer, and then winter, and then we went through another
I
shit
think there was
show,
a second
right?
shutdown.
Was
in
there a
the
second?
winter.
Oh my God, I can't remember.
Right.
Really, there was another shutdown. There was.
Well, and then fast forward another year. I don't want to get too far ahead, but like then right after, and I know this because it was right after Aaron and I got married, that Omicron hit.
All right,
That's a
Omicron.
whole other.
That was another February too, right?
No, that was like November, December of 21.
Wait, so
Okay,
how many
21.
viruses
Because first
evolved
it was
from that?
Delta.
Delta.
Right.
Delta was
right.
the first
Right.
or the first of the second waves.
So I think through all that,
Yeah.
we were just
Jeez.
getting.
I
So I
mean,
think that we were
surreal.
just getting better.
Yeah.
Right. We still had everything going. I don't think we had definitely closed the gallery.
Yeah.
Nobody was working.
Nobody was working the gallery,
Okay.
but
No.
also the vaccination really solidified some things too. Like it made us feel
Vaccines started coming out in
Right?
the winter and
When?
early 21.
21.
Early 21, yeah.
That's when we really. I think that's when our family started feeling like we could do this now.
Yeah.
Like,
Were you ever able to reopen the gallery?
So we didn't ever reopen the
No.
gallery for like regular businesses.
And that's 60.
But
We
we
should
had-
tell folks it's 63, Bluxome.
Bluxome Street
We were
gallery.
mentally exhausted
Yeah.
by the whole
But-
bit,
right.
and
But what
nobody
we
was
did
going to
and
come
what-
out and like show their art yet.
Right.
You know,
But what
because
we did-
everybody was going through their own thing.
Well, we didn't
Right.
want people in.
Yeah,
right? Remember,
that's
it was
true.
the whole thing. We didn't want people in. We
Yeah.
didn't want people getting sick on your dime.
And
So
you
we
did
had
some outdoor
we had
parties.
four
I went to
outdoor-
one, yeah,
we had
that's
four
right.
outdoors.
Yes.
I remember. I had to make a line through the gallery and like a little line to people
To the
go use the
bathroom.
bathroom. And like, I'm not.
Did you
trying
do
to
any
be
creative,
stupid.
like, tape
no,
on the
but I was
floor?
just like, hey,
We
guys,
had
let's,
the hand sanitizers.
Yeah, hand
remember?
sanitizer.
That was big.
Yeah.
Big.
But we
big.
had, and then the first show we had was a little bit small. I think the second show we had, Sunny and the Sunsets and Ava, and I think
The
that
API
one was
AAPI show.
big, and it was the one that
With the
people wanted
kids.
to come back. People
What?
wanted
Which
to
one
come
was
out.
that one?
We had the one, oh maybe it wasn't Sunny, maybe it was the one with Ava.
Ava and the kids.
And
The
they played outside?
Asian. Yeah.
Yeah.
And local,
There was a lot of-
local brewing. What are they called?
Yes.
Local
Yeah, local brewery.
brewery were part of
Yeah.
the one that I went to. Anyway.
Yeah. They, she kicked in some beer and we'd play in front of her parklet Trying to give her some.
Parklets, yeah.
I remember going, whichever one it was I went to, it was like one of the first things like that I went to, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So starved for that kind of thing.
One event that we put tape on the floor and people were like social distancing. Yeah. That was the Sunny Show.
Yeah, that was the Sunny Show.
Sunny
might have been
the
first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
Out in the parking lot.
Out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then we did.
So many people showed up for that one.
People.
Yeah.
That was
like,
when
shit.
it's just started open and everybody was eager to like hear some music, live music, and be around people.
I actually remember looking
down
down at the fire department too. I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna come and stop us and stuff. No, they're
right there.
They're just like everyone else. They're just fucking regular people. They're like, we're gonna creep down. We're gonna watch too. And they came down and watched, and it was
that
great.
in 2020 or is that 21?
That was
2021.
Okay.
That was
21.
one of our first.
Well, I was going to go back quickly and ask, you know, there are a lot of changes in that neighborhood, but then also, like, once the Giants started playing and there's no one going to games, what was it like just going
to work?
Surreal.
Was it?
It was like a
really
nightmare
surreal.
for
It was
me.
kind of like
because it's
the
not
80s.
what I remember.
It was kind of like the
80s.
80s in
Yeah,
Soma.
it's going backwards.
right?
Where
Skid Row.
Row. It's becoming
Skid
back
Row
that
or-
South of Market grittiness.
Yeah,
You know?
Back
It's
in
in
the
Hitchcock
80s,
movies.
Yeah.
back in the 80s, the only street really I remember in Soma
Townsend.
was
Folsom.
11th, right? Because you
11th,
had the
Minnow,
Paradise and the Oasis.
Oh, yeah.
And the Stud.
Well, yeah, and right. So you had those bars, and
yeah.
that was it. But anywhere
Holy
else south
cow.
of Market, because there was no ball fields, so it was just kind of a ghost town. You wouldn't go Soma in
Well,
the 80s, right?
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't go to Townsend either.
Right.
Townsend only had Townsend Club, but that was a drag
And
scene
that's
over
the way
there.
it was. It was just
It was
really
really desolate.
They
and it
tore
was like
down
nothing.
they tore down that tennis club. So now you got this like big empty space.
There was
Nobody's
gonna
going
be
to
a
the brewery.
skyscraper.
Nobody's coming into the gallery.
Right.
We had Clammy, right, come in and catch shirts because we couldn't pay anyone to like just sit in the gallery. There's no foot traffic, zero.
Right. It went from like kind of slow to none.
To none.
Yeah.
Now
Right,
it's
kinda slow to none.
absolutely.
We'll get
Bluxome
to
Street,
Desert.
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
All
Bluxome
right.
Street
We'll get to
is,
that.
is a ghost town. now.
Yeah. Okay, so
All right.
so 2021, you've got you're like doing screen printing for the city and local
Yep.
businesses and starting to put on some. So did you feel like you're like, okay, we turned a corner and
Definitely felt like we were turning a corner as far as the business was concerned.
Okay.
Right? We, like we said, the gallery was going nowhere, but we were trying to do our best. Like we still have the business, and we still could always have street parties. So that's why we had 2 or 3.
I was really
street-
nervous about that street party.
Yeah, yeah. 2 or
That
3
was-
good street parties, and then I don't know, it just started kind of changing, right?
Yeah.
But in turn, how business I think came back and started coming back to Babylon was us working in February, March, April, May to the summer, helping all these local small businesses and schools and
Just being in
They came
touch
back.
with people.
now they came
Yeah.
back. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, now you are our screen printer.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
like, oh, beautiful. Right?
so these were new clients.
They're
a
new
lot
clients.
of new clients.
Essential businesses that were
Word of
helping.
mouth.
I love these like silver lining stories.
Yes.
There's a lot of them. Obviously, the
Yeah.
pandemic sucked hard,
totally
but
sucked
like
hard.
it's not without good shit.
Right.
I'll just
That was
It
our.
just, I say, believe in yourself, work hard, and just believe in your, product and just put it out there.
Yep.
No matter what, even in a COVID time, we were still like, we're gonna believe in this. We're gonna show people, share our passion with the workers. And the workers were a little nervous. No, a lot of them
Sure.
were nervous,
Yeah.
right? We had to lead and show like we can do this. We can do
It
it.
helped us for
Right?
sure. Nobody got sick
Yes.
yeah.
until
Oh,
I got sick.
oh yeah.
The boss gets
No,
sick.
Elijah, wasn't it? We
No,
went,
it
no,
was me.
no, it was
It
you.
was me because it was before vaccines.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we were, me and
Oh,
our
Desi.
son Desmond were in Texas for that snowstorm shit show for hockey.
Yeah, that one.
And
That was
we got it.
terrible.
You know, it's funny.
That was the worst.
It
worst.
was. No
Through the
vaccine.
whole back when I think on the
That's
timeline,
the low point.
That's the lowest
that was
of
the low.
lowest.
Yeah.
So then I had it. So then everyone's kind of nervous, you know,
Yeah.
and they don't
But it
want me
was-
coming back quick, which was good. I felt
You
good
didn't have
about
it
that.
bad.
I had it. I didn't
did
have it
you?
that bad, but and I'm a workaholic. I wanted to come back, and they're like, "You stay away," because everyone's kind of nervous. And again, no vaccines, right? No vaccines. But the guys were troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super troopers.
I think if because I just edited it, you had like 8 or 10 employees. Is that where we still are?
We're maybe at 10 now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep it
Amazing.
at 10.
I would
It's a
say
small
since
system.
we talked
we
last,
like it small.
we lost like 3 people.
Because they moved.
Moved on, but we have gained 2 or 3,
Awesome.
4, maybe
And they're
4.
incredible people.
And
we
I
love
mean,
them.
that is something, I don't have a small business or a business of any kind,
Yeah.
but like that's something I hear from people
Yeah.
who I know who do, is that it's hard to get people and hard to keep people.
It is.
So I think it speaks to,
I think we talked in the
What
last
y'all are
time
doing.
too of how I was like, I learned from a couple of bad bosses that you just need to be a halfway decent human being
Yep.
and pay people. That hasn't changed.
Respect,
Like
kindness.
the guys love me. I've had 2 guys.
Yeah.
Shaq's been here for 16, 17
Wonderful
years.
man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nick's been here 10 or
Yeah.
more. Yeah, I pay him well, but we've become friends.
Yeah.
You know, and
we share our
money
space,
is not
basically.
the
you know,
only thing between our relationship, but I'll tell you, it helps.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
And you do have to pay people.
Yeah.
To do, you know,
that's
it
part
happened
of
to me.
treating them right.
It's
Right.
part of treating them right. When
For
people
sure.
are like, "Oh, I do it for my boss because I love him." Yeah, well, I need to pay them what they deserve. You've been here for
Exactly.
16 years, dude. You're
That's
going to get
amazing.
paid.
Yeah,
right?
and respected,
respect,
and
right.
and you know, just we don't come from that space of like taking. We like to give more than
Yeah.
we take.
And
you
at
know?
that point,
we just
when
like
you've
to
been
share
here
our space.
for so long, you're like a
awesome.
master printer. Right?
Yes.
These guys are like master printers.
Right.
So
Yes.
they can teach the newer guys, the guys coming up, and it's kind of a perfect scenario.
It's like
to-
baseball, right?
Yeah.
Ah,
Teaching
good
the rookies.
metaphor.
Well,
They are.
There's 1,000 analogies, but
Yeah.
baseball's on my mind always.
Yeah, there's they're teaching the rookies, and the rookies are doing good. So we have a good. I think I remember listening last night and to the old show, and I was like, right now we're in a really good space. And right now, I got to say, we're back at that space. We're in
yes.
a really good space.
Feels
That's,
good.
I mean, I would have wanted to do this podcast with y'all either way, but that
Yeah.
makes me super happy.
Yeah, it's a
Thank
really
you.
good space.
So-
Picking up
Yeah.
a couple of big clients
Okay.
is
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's really happened. And again, directly from like helping people out and word of mouth. And,
Yep.
you know, again, almost 50 years. We're coming up in a couple of years, we're going to be 50 years old. So that leads us to 2022.
Do you want? Okay, let's talk about 2022.
So 2022 was more of a
Just riding that wave.
riding the wave.
Yeah.
Picking the people that we helped through COVID are now our new clients.
Right.
George Washington High School.
Oh,
Yeah,
Holy crap.
Yes, the
They
public
have
school system
yeah, the
has
public
come
school
through for us.
San
it all-
Francisco Unified School District. Just
Oh, the district even.
everyone, like the
Okay.
art, and then anyone that's part of the Unified School District. Cesar Chavez, Elementary.
Waldorf helped.
No, Waldorf is, but the ones that we picked up because of COVID that we're helping.
Oh, right.
A bunch of them, and a bunch of nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so now there are new clients. So we're just kind of riding a wave. Now we
Mm-hmm.
got, like we're saying, we picked up the van. We're getting way better at social media.
Mm-hmm.
People supported us and kind of watching what we're doing through COVID, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Trying to stay under the radar, but still like, you
A
know,
lot of people
love
asked.
that. People love that.
They
Like
wanna
I would
hear
post a
from us.
new shirt and people like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a new shirt, right? And now they were waiting for the new Balboa
And
theater shirt to
behind
come
that,
out.
honey,
and,
I don't mean to interrupt, but behind that fair exchange of what you did, like for example with Balboa Theater, how we helped them and they helped us.
That's what we talked about,
That
yeah.
relationship. I think a lot of people believe in our business because of
Mm-hmm.
how we treat people in our community. Like it's a fair exchange and everybody profits. There's no greed in between. Everybody prospers.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we need.
The Balboa is like a hub of that, and it's quite a community out there on Balboa Street.
Yeah.
And just the fact that I feel like their decisions to do the things that they were able to do and do safely are key to, and it's thriving out there now.
We went out there for a Christmas thing in 21.
Yeah, we had a party.
We went out there
because
they still weren't showing movies. 21. We made hot chocolate to pass out. They were just selling popcorn, having beer. They couldn't show movies.
Right.
We just were sitting there. People were lined up. They had a parklet. They had a parklet. They couldn't show movies.
Yes, I remember
People
that.
People just lining up to.
Those giant TVs. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great, and that was us. So what they were helping, what they were doing, we had the same thing. It was kind of the same thing, but in SOMA, not in the Richmond district.
Right.
You know.
Right. Different scale.
I love Jamie and Adam. They just have great energy, foresight.
Yeah.
And
so we made that
really
connection with them
Yeah.
and became like instant. Like we're going to dinners, like we're hanging out. We notice that we have a lot in common. We're going to the movies together when we start opening up and stuff. And then they become really key in the fire.
Okay.
Become a huge part of like helping out.
Talk about the fire.
Yeah. So we're doing our regular thing, right? Like gearing up for, it was before. So the fire happened December 4th, right? The morning of December 4th.
Okay. Had y'all worked the day before?
We had worked the day before. We had actually had a
dinner party
with our friends. And then, it's funny. I wish I could remember who it was. It was either Tantrum or maybe Farley's. I had done some tote bags for them. We went out to dinner in North Beach, and I go, hey, I'm going to swing by the shop and just pick up this box.
At 11:30, I remember.
11:30 at night.
We're in the shop, and you picked up the box.
Picked up the box. Everything's regular, normal. Set the alarm, go home. Then I get a call at
1:30.
We get a call at
1:30, Mike.
Yeah, 1:30 in the morning, and it's Bay Alarm.
That's 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Bay Alarm is saying, this woman is calling, and she's like, there isn't. And when I see Bay Alarm, we've been having problems with our. Yeah. We always have problems with our alarm. It goes off, and who knows why?
Yeah.
Mice
Rodents
eating the
whatever.
And then
the wind.
The wind, right? So this lady on the other line is like, you have an active fire at your shop.
Jesus.
And I'm like, what?
No,
right?
but excuse me. Remember we had a fire prior to this? Like 2 months before. Somebody tried to burn down the door.
Outside.
Yeah, outside. Yeah,
okay.
Some random like crazy person tried to burn our door.
Our farm door.
Which was kind of scary. Which
was happening around town a little bit.
Right. There was an arson going around town.
Right. This was an arson because he went later that day, he went and burned a few
other places, right?
Later that night, he burned a few other places down the street. Yeah, the fire department were like, and then we looked, the arson lit it, put some rags and lit the door up. It tickled like the sign, our famous hanging sign.
Oh, yeah.
Just barely tickled it. But if it would have rose a little bit more, it would have got inside into the wood, and it would have lit it up.
So that's and that was, you said, a couple months
that
before
was like
this?
Before this.
3 months before the fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're kind of on. I even checked my fire insurance.
Yeah.
So
Seth and I, Seth, the bookkeeper, artist extraordinaire, I was like, we got to check our fire insurance, right? I remember him telling me, for some reason in the back of my mind, I always thought like $1 million or something, right? Mm-hmm. And it was not anything like that, right? It was like...
You found out the hard way.
It was like 200,000 or something. But then I was kind of like, I think that's good. I don't know. What is everything really worth? And
we're never going to have a fire.
We're never going to have a fire.
Never.
Which is kind of funny, all in hindsight, because our company is one of those ones that, we had some people coming in and going,
dust,
get rid of all those
electrical extension
right now.
cords,
and I'm like,
old building,
so it
old
was,
wood, old electrical. It's just
So anyways, get the call. The lady says...
And this is the alarm company.
This is the alarm company.
Okay.
She says, you have an active fire at your shop, and then I didn't tell Judy this, but she almost became like sympathetic and like a friend. And I know it's kind of rough. She's like, she goes, it's pretty bad. I'm like, why is this lady who doesn't even know me?
Right.
And it wasn't like a mean thing, right? It was kind of like nice.
Preparing you.
Yeah, like she's telling you like, fuck, it's serious.
And I knew
Yeah.
from his reaction to that call, I knew this was the moment that we've been dreading. And when that happened, I was already ramping in my mind. Some scenarios, some visions.
So then I just got on it. I just jumped in the van. I told Judy it's a fire, blah, blah, blah. And then I raced down, and then I take 280. So at the 280 split, right, go to the Bay Bridge and then heading towards 6th Street exit, coming up over the freeway, I see the fucking fire.
You just saw
I could
flames?
see it,
Yes.
smoke. And it was 2 a.m, right?
Right.
But like with a kind of open sky, a clear sky, so I could just see the bellowing. I'm like,
No traffic, it
I'm
was
like,
dead.
no, it can't be inside Babylon, right?
Right.
And then as I get closer, and then when I took the right, then I just saw so many lights. And I took the right.
Well, wasn't there was a fire station right there?
Yeah,
you
there's-
talked about it already.
Oh
in the-
yeah, they're a client of ours.
Right.
I mean, I have
Right.
I have
so weird.
I have 15 firehouses throughout the city. But when they broke the door in, that's when our alarm went off. And then I think that I don't know how she knew it was a fire, but I just think it was all over the radio.
Yeah.
We're sound asleep, and
Yeah,
and then she probably heard it from the local brewery, because local brewery actually it was
alarm.
local brewery's
Yes.
smoke alarm
That
that
went
picked up. Her shit started going off.
Okay.
Because she has millions of dollars in her
Brewing
business,
equipment.
brewing
Yep,
equipment.
yep.
So she has lots of equipment, and so that went off first, and then I don't know if she got on the phone or whatever. That's how it all kind of started.
But there was just smoke in her place, no fire, or
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing as us, right? So same thing
It was
as
in
us.
the roof line, the
So
fire.
when I pulled in to 5th Street, it was all blocked off, so I had to run. I parked the car on the sidewalk and just ran. And then by the time I got there, though, there was no flames, right? So it had started, and this is another, a misnomer that everyone thinks that, we started the fire. But the thing is, it was just this old building. That building's from the 20s. And then there's some old shoddy wiring upstairs started the fire. So a artist in the back room, extension cord, whatever, or plug that she had in, it just
shorted out.
Whatever it was,
Ignited.
right?
It was a
Ignited.
perfect storm.
Yep. And so that's where it burned in the back.
It started
So,
back and then up to
So
the
then
roof.
when it was great. It's good we're talking about the fire department, because I could see that they didn't cut the barn door. I was all worried about the barn door. David Chong Lee is doing this most beautiful art piece on the whole
Right.
door for us. He's been working on it for months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at first I was kind of like, I was just worried about that, And then they had it open, and I go, but I couldn't get close enough. I was in tears. I was shaking because they were.
Yeah.
And then all these people on the sidewalk, because the condominium beside us, they were all out on the street, because it was, I saw pictures of it later, but it was fully engulfed.
Yeah.
The top floor was fully engulfed.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then
So there's 2 floors, right? So
Yeah.
the top floor roof there was a hole where the fire was shooting out.
Yeah, all the skylights at the
Shoot.
top,
Oh my God.
all blown
Yeah.
out, just
So
fueling the
the-
fire with the air.
The
Right.
firemen
And
were
then-
like shooting all this water toward it, gallons of water, and
500,000
Yeah.
gallons of water.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these people run up to me in the condominium. I'm in a bit of state of shock. And they're like, look at the fire. They want to show me it, right? It's just such a modern thing, right? To like show people like, on their phone. They loved that they had it on film.
And you're like,
Meanwhile,
it's right here, I
I'm
can
fucking
see it.
heartbroken.
Devastated.
I'm absolutely
Yeah.
And they're like kind of smiling. I got it all. Look at this. You can see, oh my God, there's flames coming out. I'm like, I don't want to see any of that.
That flame really robbed us.
So
we
then-
really felt like we were being robbed,
Yeah.
because our history, our hard work, our community was in, everything was in there. And that fire was
20 plus
tore
years
us,
of us
like,
just owning
yeah,
it.
I was gonna
us
say, yeah.
owning
Right.
it. Like,
Late 90s, right? Is when
Yeah,
you took
late
over.
90s.
so much emotions.
Babylon moved in there in 91.
Right, after the earthquake.
After
they
the
moved to that
earthquake,
location. Yeah.
So, so all that history up until like I got it in 99. So then when I was like in shock, crying, trying to get closer, I just started noticing all these fires. There had to be
70 firemen on the
fire
site.
trucks. Yeah, it was a whole
There was
thing.
2 stations
I just
there.
started seeing
Wow.
everyone, and I knew all these people.
Right.
And then it was really kind of touching and sad because I was like, I don't see flames coming out of Babylon. You know, it's okay, right?
Oh, like you were still denial and holding out
kind
hope.
of denial,
and holding
right?
out
Like
hope.
I kept trying to look in. We couldn't see in because there's
Right.
no power. They'd cut all the power. And then all my friends that were firefighters kept coming out and just like touching me. They're like, we're so sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm like, so what, it's like, is it burned? Because there's no flames in there, but they are just dousing it, dousing it.
Water
so then
damage.
this is like a kind of dramatic thing that happened. The roof was starting to collapse. So they were on the roof. The fire department was on the roof of the condominium overlooking Babylon's top roof. The roof was starting to collapse. So there were firefighters on the second floor trying to battle
that's
it.
super fucking dangerous for them.
Super dangerous for them.
Yes.
Jeez.
Come to find out, there's 2, and we still need to find. We met that guy and thanked him that night, but I feel like there still needs to be. There was this Asian
formal.
dude and another guy.
Thank you.
They were
Formal
going to
thank yous.
pull. They were pulling him out because what they were doing was they were going to pull in these. I'm getting this all wrong, but they were going to pull in these 2 fire trucks and just bury the building with water.
Okay.
They use these fire hoses. Can't remember what they.
Up on ladders.
Yeah, they're up on ladders, and they are going to just completely, the whole building, just demo it in water.
to take out the
They
roof.
red tagged it.
Take out the roof,
To
take
put out
everything.
the fire, yeah.
Because they're worried about now it's starting to catch to the condominium.
They're going to give
And
up.
other people.
They were going
they were
to
going
give
to
up.
give up. So these 2
And let it
firefighters
burn
are
out,
on the roof while these other firefighters are up on the condo roof going, give us 5 minutes. Give us 5 minutes. Well, they had already started this thing where all the fire trucks blow their horns, and that means clear the area. Everyone out of the building, everyone out of this area, because they're going to douse it.
Okay.
They said that they were minutes away from doing that, and these 2 firefighters asked for 5 minutes. They caught one part of this flame, and the flame started coming down, and they got it.
That was Mike Lynch and Judy Tam-Lynch of Babylon Burning. Part 3 and the conclusion of this episode drops next Wednesday. Enjoy the 4th of July, and we'll see you then. Music for Storied San Francisco was produced, performed, and curated by Otis McDonald. Michelle Kilfeather does original photography for us. Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast is our contributing producer. And the show is produced and hosted by me, Jeff Hunt. Now in our 5th season, we have more than 200 episodes available on our website, storiedsf.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're able to, please rate and review the show. And drop us a line at storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay strong, weird, and healthy. And we'll see you next time on Storied San Francisco.
This podcast is a proud member of the BFF.FM podcast network. Learn more at podcast.bff.fm.
BFF.FM, best frequencies forever.